Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. It is Tani here and today we are going to talk about all of the games that I played this year. We're going to rank them and it's going to be epic and I'm already anticipating some angry comments. So without further ado, let's get to it. So first of all, let me introduce you to our tiers today. Starting off strong at the bottom here, we've got Electric Chair. This is for the games that I never ever want to play again. I wish they would honestly cease to exist and I didn't really appreciate almost anything about them. Then the next tier is Spare Me from Ever Playing This Again. That one's a little better. Those are the ones that I don't mind if you enjoy them. I just personally never ever want to play them again.
Because I didn't enjoy them.
The next one is Who the Fuck Put This Game On? And those are the games that I enjoy, maybe not everyone enjoys. They're kind of mid-tier, could be better, could be worse, but I would play them again. I would. The next one is This Game Did the Thing. It's pretty self-explanatory, kind of iconic. And finally, we've got Roman Empire. I'll never ever stop thinking about this game. And it is honestly the highest honor, the highest tier, the most sought after tier there is, to be honest. So yeah. Also, as a little bit of a disclaimer, I haven't really played any new releases this year because I am poor. I don't have the money to fork out like 50, 60 pounds for every game that comes out. So you're gonna see a lot of older games here, games that aren't the hottest at the minute. But anyway, I don't really care about that kind of stuff. So if that's a problem for you, maybe click away from the video. But without further ado, let's get into it. So starting off very weakly, we have Heavy Rain. Now, what can I say about Heavy Rain? Heavy Rain, if you don't know, is probably like the pioneering game for the choice-based story game genre.
I hated it.
I hate to say it, but Heavy Rain is going into Electric Chair. Now, my reasoning for this is, even though Heavy Rain honestly had a very surprising plot twist that took me by surprise, since it was surprising, who would have thunk? Despite it actually having a really good plot twist at the end of it, I pretty much hated everything about it. Most of all, I despise the way that this game treated women, and I thought it was just so horrendous. I also just hated how this game ended up being like kind of stupid. The main character, this isn't really a spoiler, but the main character, for example, at one point he's got broken ribs, he's like been crawling through glass, he's like super like maimed and like barely holding on to his dear life, like he is about to die. And the game gives you an option to have sex with the other character who's a woman, and you can do it. And that is just so stupid to me, because if you had broken ribs and you'd been crawling through glass and you were like burned, I don't think you would be doing that. And it was one of those moments where I was like, this is so stupid, I can't take this seriously. And I ended up kind of like honestly laughing through most of this. It wasn't that good. I mean, granted, it was kind of creepy and like spooky, and as I said, like the plot twist was good, but overall I never really ever want to see this game again. It just really sucked. I also felt like the violence towards women in this game specifically was just so gratuitous. It was so like not necessary and very sexualized, and I just did not appreciate that. I don't think any of that had to be there really. There's a whole like violent sequence towards the female character that honestly was unnecessary. It was completely unnecessary and it played no part or no purpose in the story. So yeah, I didn't like it. I think there's a lot better games out there, especially for like the choice-based game genre. And if you haven't played this, I honestly would say skip it. Unless you want to experience quite a laughable, unserious, silly game. Anyway, let's move on. So next up in my games that I've played this year is Stray. Now, this breaks my heart to say because I really actually was so excited to play Stray, but I must put it into Spare Me from Ever Playing This Again. I was so excited to play Stray. I thought it was going to be the best game ever, and I have to say, I was so disappointed with Stray. I genuinely did not have a good time. I didn't have a good time playing this. I had actually probably the worst time playing this. I rage quit it, and my girlfriend had to do a lot of the sequences that were really difficult because they got so tedious and so annoying. that I just like genuinely couldn't handle it. I found that a lot of the mechanics of like trying to make the game more challenging just got really annoying, because I'm not somebody who hates challenge, but I just felt like playing as the cat, you had no way of like fighting against the kind of opponents or enemies or whatever it was. You were kind of overpowered, and it was just really irritating to me. I felt like you just genuinely didn't have a fair shot against the little blob things or the robots that shot the laser beams. I forget, it's been a while since I played it, but I just felt like it became really just irritating, and I got really frustrated and annoyed. So I unfortunately, after finishing this game, never ever want to play it again. It was stunning, it was visually pleasing, and the story's like fine, I guess, but I never ever want to play it again, because it really gave me high blood pressure and like anger management issues. So unfortunately, that was a big disappointment. Dare I say, probably was the biggest disappointment for me for this year. Moving on, I actually will get these simulation games that I played this year out of the way. So first of all, we've got Cities Skylines. I'm gonna say, who the fuck put this game on? I went through a huge Cities Skylines era this summer in 2023. I was on this game 24/7. I love this game. I don't even have any DLC for it, which I think the amount of DLC that they have for this game is insane, and that's the reason I refuse to get any of it. I don't think there's any point in having like that many different paid DLCs for this game. It's just crazy, but I think you can also have a really good experience with it without any of that, to be honest. I really enjoy it. I haven't gotten Cities Skylines 2 yet because I was really excited to, and then I heard when it was released that it was full of bugs and glitches, so I have not got it yet. That will probably be included in my ranking for next year, so stay tuned. But what can I say? It's a really good game. If you like simulation games, then this is definitely gonna be something that you probably will enjoy. We've got the Sims 2 next up, which of course for me is This Game Did the Thing. If I could, I'd put it somewhere in between Roman Empire and This Game Did the Thing. This was the year that I actually got back into The Sims 2. I hadn't played it for years and years, and finally this year I really delved into it and I love it. This game is a classic. Honestly, what can you say? When it comes to simulation games, that is just such a good one, and you really can't go wrong with it. The only downside is that in order to get it to run on modern computers, you have to go through so many steps, and in order to get it to look good, you have to download like 40 gigs of CC and like mods, and just there's a lot of quality of life and visual things they have to do on top of all of the actual like software related fixes. So it's a little bit of a daunting thing if you want to get back into it, but I would definitely recommend getting back into it because it is so worth it. But yeah. Then next up, we've got The Sims 3. For me, The Sims 3 is my Roman Empire. I love this game. I'll never stop playing it. It's literally probably one of my favorite games of all time. I say probably. It is the best game ever. It's the best one out of the Sims franchise. I will die on that hill. The sheer amount of things you can do, the world feels so alive. It's an open world. It's just a wonderful game. I enjoy the art style as well. I think that's my favorite art style so far. And I don't know, there's just so much you can do in the lore and the characters. Like the pre-mains in all of the Sims 3 worlds are so good, and there's so much hidden lore that you can get into, and I just love that so much. And yeah, for me, The Sims 3 was probably the game that I played the most in terms of hours this year, which is kind of crazy when you think about it, but I'm pretty sure I put probably like 500 hours into this game this year. I wish I was kidding. I also do have a Sims channel where I post Sims 2 and Sims 3 videos, and I will leave a card up somewhere here on the screen. But yeah, The Sims 3, definitely Roman Empire level, like just superior game. And then finally, when it comes to simulation games, we've got The Sims 4. This was the year that I officially quit this game, and for me, unfortunately, it's gonna go into spare me from ever playing this again. I don't think it deserves Electric Chair. I think it is so fair that there are so many people who love it. I just cannot get behind the DLC. Like, it's just ridiculous. Like, the quality of the game just is not good. It is not worth the price. I think currently it's like over £1,000 if you want to own the full game. I think that's ridiculous when it comes to like the quality of that. Like, if you were expected to pay that much and you were getting quality content in return, that would be fine, but you do not get quality content. And as somebody who has been playing The Sims since The Sims 1, I just think The Sims 4 has taken it into a direction that I do not enjoy, I do not like, and this year I kind of just had enough and I quit it, and I never really have the desire to play it anymore. I don't even remember the last time I honestly played it. I am pretty sure I also uninstalled it from my computer, so yeah, spare me from ever playing The Sims 4 again, unfortunately. Now, moving on to What Remains of Edith Finch. My goodness, this game changed my life. I could talk about it for hours and hours and hours. I literally do not know a game that is this, this game is somewhere between a piece of art and a game, and it is just, I don't even know really how to describe it. If you haven't played it, you should definitely play it. It's a really quick game. It's like 2 to 3 hours, but the premise is that you are walking through this house that belongs to the Finch family, and you are learning about their history that is very weird. It's creepy at times. It's a little bit like dark and twisted, but it's combined with the most beautiful art style, the most beautiful visuals, and the story honestly is so stunning, and it is just beautiful. I feel like the word beautiful doesn't really cut it, but it is just beautiful in every sense of the word, not just visually, but the story will hit you in your soul. When I finished this, I just kind of sat there for a little bit, just like thinking about it and thinking about what journey I had been taken on by this game. It is just so good, and I think that everybody should probably experience it because it is incredible, and I think that it deserves much more love and appreciation than I feel like it is currently getting. Now, let me move on to probably my most unpopular opinion of this whole entire video. Let's get it out of the way. Let's do it. Life is Strange, the first game. For me, it's spare me from ever playing this again. I'm sorry. I have never been able to give my opinion on this game without people getting super mad at me and telling me that I just don't get it. I get it. I understand why people love this. I get why this is such a universally loved game. However, for me, I really didn't like it. I didn't like it. I thought it was so boring. I hate to say it. Okay, but let me break down why I think that Life is Strange wasn't that good. In my opinion, I will explain what I enjoyed and what I didn't enjoy, and then we can all move on and it's all gonna be fine, okay? And put down that pitchfork. Well, put it down until you've heard my reasoning. If you're still mad, then I guess fine, you can point it at me. Anyway, Life is Strange for me was a good story, but what I really did not gel with was the time travel, that element of it. I thought there were so many plot holes with that. There were times that, you would, acquire an item and turn back time, you would still have that item. Later on in the game, you would do the same, but because you time traveled, you wouldn't have that item anymore. It was just like, I don't think the mechanic always made sense, and I don't think they necessarily, when they were making this game, remembered what rules and laws they were applying to that mechanic. So it got a little bit irritating for me. I genuinely would have preferred the choice aspect to matter more, because when you have a choice-based game, but you can turn back time and change your choice, that kind of negates the point of it. So I didn't really get invested in the same way. I also didn't find it that interesting that 99% of this game was just looking at things and hearing the inner dialogue of Max. I don't know. I felt like where this game got really good was towards the end when you're putting together all the clues and you're trying to figure that out. That was really interesting to me, and I really enjoyed the last 2 chapters. They were really, really good, and I didn't necessarily hate everything about this game. There were parts of it that I really enjoyed, and the overall story was good, but I would have enjoyed it a lot more, I think, if it didn't have the time travel, time turning back time aspect to it. I just feel like that got in the way more than it helped. I also really didn't like the gameplay of when you're trying to convince Chloe that you have the power and you're guessing what's in her pockets. It was just so tedious, and it got to a point where I was bored and I was like, let's keep it moving. So I think there's a lot in here that could have been implemented a lot better, and honestly, to me, it had the right idea. The implementation, I did not vibe with it at all, unfortunately, so I never really want to play this again. If I'm honest, honest, I didn't enjoy it. I'm sorry. Anyway, let's move on. So next up is Life is Strange True Colors. Now, here is where I think Life is Strange got it right. For me, this game did the thing. Life is Strange True Colors, for me, is like such a good choice game. Although I was a little bit disappointed by the lack of like different endings, but it's okay because the story was so good. And I think what they really got right with this one is that the power that Alex has is really, really interesting. It actually really expands the story and it gives you a lot of interesting stuff to do in the game. I think it was really fun to like walk around the town and, you know, like tap into the emotional states of all the like random NPCs around, including also the people that you were more interacting with, like all the other like side characters as well. I thought that was really fun. I really enjoyed that. And I think the emotional aspect of it was really cool. And I don't know, I really liked it. I also think the characters were really good. And then I finally, what I really enjoyed about it is the fact that they've kind of intertwined the cinematics with the game and stuff. Like, I don't know, it's really hard to explain, but they've just kind of so seamlessly made it all be one thing. Like, I don't know how to explain it. If you played it, you know what I mean, but I just feel like it was just so visually and emotionally pleasing to play. And it just felt so, it like hit me, it got me a little bit. I was crying a little, like, I'm not even gonna lie. And the story just was really good. And I really loved Alex as a character. And I don't know, I just thought it was so good. I also really loved when they were doing the LARP and it gave you the chance to kind of play a whole chapter in a whole different way. I thought it was so good. It kind of broke the mold a little bit. It kept things interesting because you were given the chance to play the game, but in a kind of different gameplay way. Like, I don't know, I felt like the pacing was good and it was just, I don't know, it just had the right idea. And I think that was so good. And I loved True Colors. And I honestly haven't been able to stop thinking about it. Also, I've said this before, but I'll say it again here. If you lost to Steph in the jukebox game, you do not understand lesbian flirting. Because I saw the song in there and I knew exactly in that moment that that was going to be the song and I got it right. So that's just my 2 cents on that topic. But anyway, moving on, we have got Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which is my Roman Empire. Now, I technically haven't finished this game. I've finished the family storyline, which is, I guess, like even the game kind of calls that the main Odyssey aspect. So if you have some spoilers and stuff, like please don't say anything too much in the comments because I still have a lot to experience. This game is so expansive, which is the number one thing that I love about it. But I could talk about this game forever. I love this game so much. I think this is honestly, this has become probably like also my favorite game of all time. There is just zero things that I don't gel with. I love this game. I could talk about it forever. Number one, I love Cassandra. Cassandra's the best. Cassandra is one of the most incredible characters from any media, point blank, that I've ever experienced. I think her, like, she's so multifaceted, so like multi-dimensional. It's just incredible to see. And I never would have expected Ubisoft to be able to pull that off. Honestly, I never would have thought. I just think that Cassandra makes this game so good. And honestly, it is the character that kind of drew me in at first. And then, I mean, the story, just the depth of the story just took me by surprise. And I just love this game so much. This game will have you laughing 1 second, crying the next. And I do love the fact that your choices, big and small, do actually matter. And it's just so good. There's so much replayability in this too. Like, when I'm thinking of what I am looking for in a game, I want replayability. I want it to be expansive. I want there to be many things to do, and I want to be able to have different ways of doing it, which this game has that all. I really love that you can clear a fort and then after a while it repopulates. You can go back, you can try like a new way of doing it. I love that you have a bow and arrow. I love that you have like stealth mechanics, and you know, you can have like like you can fight them if you want to, if you don't want to do stealth. Like, I enjoy that you can play this game whatever way you want to play it, and the game doesn't force you to either do it like just stealth or just this or that. Like, you can completely disregard the bow and arrow if you don't want to use the bow and arrow. And like, I feel like that's the good part about it, because then you can really shape your experience of playing the game and have it be exactly how you want it to be. And I think that's going to make it more enjoyable. enjoyable. I also obviously have to mention the fact that the setting is ancient Greece. I love the mythology. I love the way that the mythology has been woven into this. They've literally taken everything that you could ever want, I feel like, out of a game set in ancient Greece, and they've put it into this, and the end outcome is just a wonderful game that I don't think deserves any of the hate that it's received. And I kind of feel like I'm slowly seeing people, after the 5 years that it's been out, come around and realize that it actually is a really good game. The map itself is huge, and I have said this during my streams because I do stream this game at Tawny Plays over on Twitch, and I just think that they didn't have to make the map as big as they did. They didn't have to include all of the stuff that you can do and discover, but they did. And I think that's what ultimately for me makes this game, is there is so much to do, and you'll be guaranteed to like play this game for hours and hours and hours. And I don't know, I just enjoy a game that keeps surprising you, keeps you on your toes, and you feel like you can go back and you'll never really get bored. It's also just so beautiful to look at, and I'm not just talking about Cassandra's biceps, but also the landscapes and everything, and they've differentiated between every single place, so you know that you're in a different place or in a different island, and like, I don't know, and it's just, the storylines are good, the quest lines, some of them are so funny, some of them are so sad, some of them are so romantic, and I don't know, I just love it so much. So for me, definitely my Roman Empire tier. I don't think it'll ever have a fall from grace for me. And I'm really also hoping that Cassandra will feature in future games, as she did in the Valhalla DLC, and she's gonna be in like the other games. I really hope that we're gonna see her again, because I mean, I feel like Cassandra is quite a well-loved character, dare I say. I know there's a lot of hate out there, but still, I feel like she's kind of, you know, people like her, so I hope she'll make a return. But anyway, now I've been talking about Odyssey and why I love it for so long, it is time to move on. So next up, we've got Detroit Become Human. My playthrough of it this year was actually my second playthrough. For me, it deserves to be in This Game Did the Thing. Honestly, Detroit Become Human is so good, and I really don't agree with any of the hate, if I'm honest. I think this game, when it comes to like choices mattering, I think is the best example of a game like that. This game, I'm pretty sure, has like 80 different endings, and I mean, some of them are more like deeper than the others. I think some of them are just kind of like different ways you can die and stuff, but still, there are so many consequences to the choices that you make throughout this game that I think is just insane. And I feel like the storylines that you follow through Connor, Marcus, and Kara, I think they're so good, and they really serve to highlight different aspects of like the android like like element, or the android, like the notion of androids and humans and stuff. I just think it's so well done. I think it's incredible. And again, I found myself being so emotionally invested in these characters, and especially Kara and Alice. I really wanted them to have the good ending, and in my first ever playthrough, I got there. Unfortunately, in my first ever playthrough, I did not get the good ending for Marcus and Connor, I have to admit, but I was so happy I got the good one for Kara and Alice. And I mean, there's also so many different ways that you can get there, and I mean, this game just is so brilliant. I can't even understand how they managed to make a game like this. I feel like it has like a decent amount of challenge as well when you're doing your investigations and you're doing the detective stuff and all that. I mean, it's not the most like difficult game by any means, but I just feel like you're also not playing it to have like a gameplay experience of like, I really want like a challenging like combat game. You're more doing it for the story. So I just think for what it is and for what it is trying to do, I think Detroit Become Human does it so well, and I just feel like this game really did the thing with having choices that matter, and choices that have, you might not realize in the moment how far ahead in the future they actually carry out. So to me, that's just such a good game. I was crying, I was laughing at times, I was stressed out, but it is just such a good game. And so yeah, this year I replayed it and enjoyed it as much as I did the first time I ever played it. It was just so good. And then finally, I have Firewatch, which I'm going to put into who the fuck put this game on. Now, Firewatch for me is a good game. It's not quite did the thing for me, but I like it. I loved it. I like, I would definitely still go back and replay this, because I feel like the first ever time I played it, I missed a lot of things somehow, even though I felt like I was being really diligent agent, but somehow upon Googling stuff, I realized I missed a whole bunch of stuff. So I do feel like this one has replayability and this has like an interesting story. I think I don't want to spoil anything, but what I really, really love about this game is that I feel like the story has such a human element to it. And that's all I'll say about it, but this was just such a good game. Again, it includes a little bit of choice. You have choice in things and what you say and what you do, and they ultimately do kind of matter. And I really am trying not to say anything that reveals anything too much, because I feel like this isn't that popular of a game, if I'm not wrong. I feel like I never really see people talk about it, so I would definitely say, like, if you haven't played it, you should play it. It's really, really good, but prepare to be kind of devastated. That's all I can say. It's a really good game, and that's all I'll say. Definitely give it a go. So anyway, here's my ranking of the games that I played this year. I hope you enjoyed this video and hearing me rant about why I love Odyssey so much. If you agree or disagree with any of my choices, do let me know in the comments. I would love to hear you guys' opinions and everything. Please leave comments below. Also about games that you think I should try next year. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you're having a lovely morning, afternoon, or evening wherever you are in the world, and I really look forward to hearing you guys' opinions in the comments, and I will see you next time. Bye!